Hey, Soul Tribe, Tracy here with Sweet Spot e-magazine. Thank you so very much for the likes, shares, the views, subscribes, the comments, generous donations in all forms, everything. I appreciate it all. We're going to go ahead and ring the bell. We're going to clear out this energy. When I've already started saging, it may have just stopped because it was getting kind of smoky in here. Ring the bell, clear out the energy, and we're going to see what the message that Spirit has for us. I feel like someone is finished looking outside of themselves. Hey, Miss Grand Marquise. For happiness, for feeling complete, for feeling whole, for feeling like they belong, for feeling anything. Hey, behaving goals. Hey, the soul archetype. I'm well, thank you, Miss Grand Marquise. They're finished looking for somebody else to complete them, and they realize now, because it's like they're going through their own dark night of the soul. They're having to realize that they have to complete themselves. Not only did they realize that, but they're finished being stuck on this karmic. They're finished feeling like they can't move forward, or they have to be codependent on this karmic. They're realizing that they can do this alone. They should do this alone. Bottom of the deck, study. Maybe somebody is taking the time to learn now. Yeah, they're doing the same thing that you did. Now they are in your shoes. And they're having to study or think about or learn what you did to get where you're at. It's not like you did this overnight. It took you some time. It took you time to realize who you are. And I feel like this person is using you as momentum. They're not really worried. Maybe this person is working on themselves, as far as feeling like, hey, K hyphy, that it's time for them to get fit on the outside, or to start exercising, start eating right, paying attention to what they ingest, whether that is the food, whether that is the drink, whether that is what they choose to hear, even what they choose to watch on TV, what they choose to be a participant of. Someone is working on themselves, because you know what? They see how blessed you are, and they want to, like I said, they are in your shoes. They are following your footsteps. They had to find out the hard way. Yes, fat meat definitely is greasy. This person now wants to choose love, because you know what? This person is going through this whole humbling experience. They are being humbled, and they're finding themselves. They had to finally stop lying to themselves that, oh, I'm okay, oh, I'm happy, because that really, when they're by themselves, it's like they felt like they couldn't be by themselves, like they had to have somebody else around to kind of talk to pick them up. And this is where this person finally made a breakthrough in their own healing, and that was, they were going to have to learn how to be by themselves. They were going to have to learn how to exist without feeling like they had to have somebody else there to complete them. I feel like this person is really understanding it's not what they can take, it's what they can actually give. how they have to be giving of self in order to really feel complete, in order to be blessed. Anybody can just take, but what can you actually give? And it's not necessarily the tangible things, things that cost money that you have to give. Sometimes it's the free stuff, a listening ear, time, love, energy, kindness, support, understanding, confirmation. Those are the things that somebody learned. They realized it's time for them to give back. It's not about the money. And I feel like this person, they felt like it was all about the money. If they didn't have this, then they felt like they didn't reach this certain level. If they couldn't have that, they felt like nobody was going to respect them. But it was time for them to stop comparing themselves to others. Like you sitting here trying to compare yourself to something that doesn't matter, or someone that doesn't matter, someone that doesn't even care about themselves. So what? Somebody can have a lot of money. Hey, Tracy. Ooh. But it doesn't mean that they feel whole. That definitely doesn't mean that they're happy. I mean, how many people, my nose is starting to itch now, how many people have a lot of money, but they off themselves because they're just not happy? Because they haven't learned to love themselves. So this is where this person is realizing it's not about comparing themselves to someone else to make it seem like I've arrived, or I'm this or I'm that. It's comparing yourself to yourself. Comparing the old you to the new you. Have you truly made a better change? Because people can change, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a better change, that it's a more healthier change. They can go from somebody that's loving and kind, being around the wrong motherfuckers, to end up somebody that's a covert, overt, malignant narcissist. So all change is not necessarily good. They have to think about the changes that they've made and where they're actually at now. Somebody realized it was time for them to really grow up. It was time for them to take charge of their life. Hey, the soul archetype. As opposed to somebody else being able to tell them what they need to do, and they just feeling like, well, they told me, I guess I better do that. No. It was time for someone to really look at self. They had to do this shadow work. They had to go through that eye. They had to battle their own internal storm so that they can come out healed, happy, joyful, loving, and complete on the other side. This is divine timing. It was time for them to make positive changes. It was time for them to grow as an individual. It was time for them to think about, their family life and what they're really building. How, are you really building up a good home? Or are you just living in a house? Are you teaching your children valuable lessons? Or you just spending money thinking, well, I'm raising them, I'm doing what I gotta do. And raising children really has nothing to do with money. It doesn't have anything to do with spoiling a child. It has to do with loving a child. Someone wanted to follow your spark. They see you as that shining star, as that shining example. of building yourself up. They remember when you was down and out, when you didn't have, when you felt bad about yourself, when you possibly didn't even love yourself at that time. And somebody had to sit back and they had to think, what was it that caused you to be like that? Then the changes that you made and what's causing you to be so happy and healthy today. Hey Ness, how are you? And you know what, Ness? Sometimes our children, they have to learn this on their own. They have to go through life of being bumped and bruised before they are actually able to wake up. Hey, Anthony. And pray for him. Pray for him. Pray that God show him the way. Pray that your ancestors speak to him while he's sleeping. Let God, enter. Pray that God enter his life, because the only reason that he's like this is because he's lost. And unfortunately, we can tell them, we can show them, but we cannot make them do it. See, somebody was looking at you and you were alone. They remember seeing you alone for a lot of time. They may have remembered seeing you, reading books or watching helpful videos, listening to certain types of music, learning things about, watching or listening to Reiki videos, or just the things about metaphysics, or those doxy videos, that put you, meditation videos. Thank you so very much, K Hypsee. I truly appreciate you. I really do. And it's like, maybe this person has remembered seeing you do that. And now they're looking at you and your money is growing. You're becoming so abundant. And this person, they're thinking about the times whenever they were lying to you, doing things behind your back, and all these other things. And you know what? And this person, they realized they didn't gain anything from that. This is why they were losing sleep. This is why they decided it was time for them to grow up. Hey, Robert. Because you know what? They realized the more hurtful, harmful, disrespectful things that they thought that they were doing to you, the more they realized they were just doing it to themselves. Somebody, they may be seeking guidance from, someone who reads tarot. They may be seeking a more spiritual way of life. But, if you read tarot, or if they see you on, watching tarot, maybe this is what someone else is doing too, because they want to find certain answers. It's like they recognize that community that you're part of, because we are in our own community. We are very spiritual, gifted, guided, purposeful beings. So somebody wants to be part of the community that you're in, because they see how your life has completely changed. And maybe at one point, whenever, years ago, maybe you used to go to church, but your life never changed. But whenever you stopped going to church and you started holding church within, you started working on yourself. You started, praising God yourself. You started asking God directly for the answers. You started incorporating, your angels, your ancestors, your spirit guides, and then started, it's like this person could see you transform your life. They want to be like that. They want their life to transform. Yeah, they're ready to create a life. They're ready to start over. High breath of fresh air. They're ready to have the life and that happiness that they see you have. And what really comes, is something that they notice is that, even though they do these things, and they feel bad after they do them, but when they look at you, they see how unaffected you are. Do it. And that's when they started realizing you were on the right track, because no matter what they do, it doesn't affect you. And here they are, having that conviction in spirit, dealing with the ramifications of their own actions, feeling the way that they are feeling, having that regret, feeling that grief. This is why somebody's ready to change their life around. It's like, this person is, like I said, experiencing that karma. And they feel like it's all fair. They feel like, this is what they deserve. Because when they think about what they've done, everything that they've done, they know, yeah, they have to get theirs back. For everything that they thought that they was doing to you, they feel like it's fair. And it is. See, they see now that you indulged in inner strength. That's where you stacked all your coins, was your inner strength, your courage. What you was not going to allow to shake you, deter you, break you down, hurt you. How you can look at something and see someone and understand where they are at and leave them where they're at if that's where they feel comfortable. This person, they're burdened. They really are burdened. They really do understand now that it's up to them to cast all these burdens from them. And I feel like they're burdened because everything that they wished would happen to you has only happened to them. Everyone is looking at how you've changed your life, how you cleaned up. They're thinking about maybe how you used to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago. And that's the memory that they felt they wanted to hold on to. But now they're looking at you and they say, that doesn't even fit any longer. That's not collective. Collective is somebody I don't even know. You are now somebody that they have to get to know over. They have to get to know again. See, this person, they want to be able to manifest. And that's another thing that they're noticing about you. Once you put your mind to it and you ask God to do it, it's done. They're watching how you are able to manifest, how your desires are strong and your wishes are being answered. confirmation. They watch how you show people the true you. You're not afraid for anyone to see who you really are. And they admire that. Because this person has not yet grasped that it's okay to be you. It's okay to be unapologetically, authentically you. You owe no one, not one person, any explanation, no reason, why you can be you and love you. People are starting to see the more you love yourself, they're starting to realize it's nothing wrong with you. There's actually something wrong with them. Because who wouldn't love you? They can't even, if somebody asks the question as to why you don't like collective, they can't answer that. What they're gonna say? Oh, collective is they feel too good about themselves. What? They feel too secure. What? What are they gonna say? Something superficial? Their feet is too small. I don't like it that they got green eyes. I don't like it because their hair. There's nothing that this person can say. Anybody that says they don't like you, there's nothing that they can say as to why they do not like you. Hey, Vivian. Especially whenever you are you. Because God loves you. God loves everything about you. And God created you specifically to look exactly like you. There's somebody else out there that may have similar characteristics, but you're the only one that looks just like you. You're the only one that acts just like you. And you're the only one who is tasked with loving everything about you. This is also what this person loves about you. How you've grown into your own. How you are so secure with who you are. How you can just, walk around, and if someone says something that's ignorant to you, you don't have to say something ignorant back. Or if you do say something, it's just enough to check them. Hey, Sia. Yeah, somebody is daydreaming about what it's going to be like, what their life is going to be like after they're finished healing. They are getting themselves excited now about what their life is going to be like, what they're going to be like, who they're actually going to be. They're imagining now themselves being healed. They're walking around now acting as if they are completely healed, even though they know they still have some of that mountain to climb. They still have some of that karmic debt to pay back. They still have some time to get out of that spiritual jail, but they are imagining their life as they truly want it to be. And that's what we did. When we knew it was time for us to heal, to let go of the old, we closed our eyes and we imagined what it was going to be like. Our responses became automatic at one point of how we are going to respond, things that we are going to say, how we are going to answer certain questions. And we already had thought in our mind, if this situation ever comes up, I'm going to present myself as this. If somebody ever says this, I'm going to respond in kind like this. If this ever comes up, I'm going to act like this. I'm going to be this way. Somebody is already exploring everything positive, beautiful, uplifting, uprising about them. And they are already making a wish. And right now, their wish is to be as happy and as healed and as loving and as kind and as gentle as you. See, they're remembering what it was like when they were looking for everybody to accept them. Like they felt like they had to have the answers from the outside. Like they had to have somebody co-sign about who they was and what they was like, and they liked their shoes, their haircut was nice, and their skin was clear. They remember that, and they remember how stuck they felt, feeling like they had to have everybody else's approval. Hey, Shamika. And that time is over. That time is done. They don't care if they have anyone's approval. Them feeling like they if they didn't have somebody, they wasn't complete. That is even finished. They're no longer feeling like they have to go out there. They got to be connected to somebody. They got to go say, well, that's my best friend. That's my soulmate. That's my better half. That's my other one. Now they feel good about themselves to say, you know what? I am single, but I'm not alone. I may live alone, but I'm not lonely. Somebody is just in the flow, and they are flowing in the love that God has provided. They are flowing towards like the love that they want to be able to give. Someone's in their emotions, and they're allowing themselves to, hey, Saida, to wake up, to understand that life is not all about them. To understand that God has a plan. God has always had a plan. This is the person who knows deep inside that it's time for them to be themselves. Like I said, unapologetically and authentically an individual. Not trying to be like anyone else. In fact, having pride that they can stand by themselves, having pride that they don't feel like they got to hang with the crowd, having pride in knowing that even though all of those people say no, you feel confident and comfortable enough and strong enough to say yes. Even though you feel everybody should say no, I'm standing alone and I say yes. People have released these relationships that no longer work for them. They have released those karmic relationships. They've released those relationships that have brought them detrimental ramifications. They've released what does not work for them any longer. And they now want to fill their cup. Not with materialistic things. They want to fill their cup with love, joy, happiness, faith, hope, kindness. The important things that matter. This person is working hard on themselves. I imagine like somebody going to their 9 to 5, doing their straight 8, and then getting off and going home and delving into themselves, shutting off from the world and really, picking up where they left off the evening before and building on that. Whether it is, like I said, they're getting answers from tarot. Maybe they bought us a deck of tarot cards themselves, or oracle cards, or whatever, or they are really into, learning more about themselves. They're really, maybe they're writing their own book to get it all out. And this person realizes that it's time for them to do that so that they can be abundant, so that they can honor that inner child, the one that felt so neglected, the one that they felt like this is why they were, and they're realizing there was that hurt, scared inner child was the reason that they were acting like that. The reason that they were doing those things, saying those things, behaving in that way, it was because of that hurt inner child, and they had to go within and help heal that inner child. This person is now awakened to who they are. And not only are they awakened to who they are, but it's almost like they feel that, even though this says sexy time, I feel like this person is being more intimate with themselves, having an intimate relationship with spirit, having a relationship, with the Most High, something that they were afraid to honor before. What's the message, Spirit? What's the message? Oh. Yeah, somebody has really been working on themselves and repairing that inner child, going back and figuring shit out, and realizing that, they were only kidding themselves, thinking that it was all about the money. Because it was never about the money. It was all about who you are as a person. What do you truly choose? Love. That's what they're realizing. That's what's most important. Because in the beginning of your life, that's what gets you through whenever you are a baby. The fact of you feeling loved, safe, and secure, and when it's all said and done, you're not going to be calling your bank to find out what your bank account is before you take your last breath. You want your last breath to be around those that you love. Confirmation if you heard that horn. What's the message, Spirit? Yeah, somebody's finished looking on the outside. Hey, Anissa, how are you? Could I saw one flip? Maybe not. Yeah, I feel like somebody is really looking for guidance, because now they find themselves walking that same path that you walked. And this is how you were able to not just build a home on the outside, but that security on the inside. Yep. Somebody is taking the time that they need to rest from all the noise, all the chatter, all the gossip, all the opinions, everything that everyone on the outside is saying. And they are just in the flow. I feel like they are starting to, get involved in a new community, that they can really create things. They're no longer looking for, because, Johnny makes $5,000 a week. No, they're looking for a spiritual community. They are tearing the old life down. They no longer feel like they have to compare themselves to someone else. They want to be able to compare themselves to themselves. And with that, they are letting a lot go. They are letting a lot go. Especially these old relationships. And like I said, now they are exploring something else. Something they never thought that they would explore. But I feel like this person is realizing this has worked for you. And how can they sit here and say it doesn't work as long as they're looking at you and you are the proof in the pudding? Bottom of the deck, the high priestess. This is what they think of you. Very spiritually gifted. And this is somebody that, even though they feel that you are very spiritually gifted, at one point they had nothing but bad things to say about you. But now I feel like this person wants to be just like you. Now this person is no longer saying anything negative about anyone because they see that it doesn't make a difference what they say. What truly makes a difference is how you show up. And they're watching and they see how you are showing up. That's why they can't say anything else. Hi, Unboxed Spiritually. How are you? Yes, because now this person, it's like they are in some type of holding pattern. I feel like this person is finally learning to surrender. Surrender to God. Because they know that they have already sacrificed themselves so much. For some people that don't even appreciate it, they are learning to surrender to God. And they are now getting the message that they need to leave this devil alone. They're finally getting the message that it's time to leave the devil alone. This person for so long, they felt like this King of Wands was the end all be all. But they're realizing that King of Wands was the one who, had them stuck. Was the one who was throwing all this bullshit around, playing these tricks, manipulating them. But I feel like this person is realizing it's time to leave the devil alone. Yep, this could have been somebody that was in a father figure role, somebody who wanted them to believe that they had, so much power, so much strength, like they could really manifest, but they found themselves as really part of this coven. And there was a lot of gossip that came with this person. A lot of gossip. A lot of unnecessary chatter. What else, Spirit? What else? Oh, dang, KIP, I am going to eat as soon as we're finished with this. I apologize, y'all. Yes, I ate breakfast, but it's past my lunchtime. I was going to go out and grab something. Boy, that's a good microphone. Whoa, that's like a piece of everything. Yeah, something about the wheel of fortune turning. And I don't think that this person, I feel like this person really didn't expect things to turn out the way that they were turning out. They never expected the karma to come back around. So this person, is really understanding that, this could have been a father figure, somebody that was controlling the house or the head of the household. And at one point, this King of Cups thought that, that was the best thing for him. Like, they were so happy. This could have been a family member. At some point, this King of Cups was sitting here like all in, but now this person is finding that they're not even really happy. They're not happy following someone else's lead. This is why this person wants a new start. They want a new start. I feel like God is giving them this golden opportunity, but they have to start off knowing that love has to be in there. It's not about money. It's about love. This person had to go within. They had to find the answers for themselves. They had to look at the lies that they told themselves about why they couldn't be alone. Whereas now they understand that they were only lied to themselves and they actually need to be alone. They need to go in that forest by themselves to find the answers. Somebody had to realize that, they were receiving messages, or the messages that they received, they should have only listened to what was the truth. This person had to realize that it's time for them to work out and work on, removing themselves from these lies, removing themselves from, what they refused to see. Because they were feeling left out. They weren't happy. They were feeling left out in the cold. They weren't even feeling like they were a part of this group. They just felt like they was just somebody that was there. This person had to realize that, you know what? You was always the way. They should have followed you. This is why you're receiving that good dharma. This is why you're being blessed. They are realizing that you were always an earth angel. That you always told them what was right and you never told them what was wrong. They're remembering the times whenever they, should have looked at you and saw how strong you were, how much strength you had to have to go through the battles that you went through whenever, years ago. And how whenever you told them something, they should have listened. Because whatever you said, it came true. Now this person, and not only that, but they're finding out that they should have communicated with you more. This person, they want to give you an apology. They want to bring you your flowers. They're having a hard time getting over things that you said because you told them the truth. They're having a hard time getting over that. It's like it's hard for them to sleep at night because they're every time they fall asleep, they always wake up thinking about, well, wait a minute, collective told me this. Collective told me that. Like maybe you told them this is going to happen and it happened. They're seeing that, you know what? You got your wish fulfillment. You won. It's like, you are, I feel like this person is recognizing you as being very victorious through a long, hard, arduous battle. Something that they should not even have put, some things that they shouldn't have put you through, or a side that they should not have taken. They see now that, you know what, they were really immature when they started following the lead of this Queen of Wands, somebody who, you know, was a kitchen witch, a church witch, whatever. Because, like I said, they realized, had they followed you, because you always knew the way, had they went with you, they would have been abundant just like you. They see you not only as the Empress, but as that rising star, as that wish come true. This person is trying to figure out how they got off track. And not just that, but it's like, when did they stop giving back? Or why did they stop giving back? And how long ago did they start fighting with you, going against you? You know, and realizing why you had to protect yourself the way that you did. They're thinking about all of that, everything, all the changes that they made. And like I said, all change is not positive. This person is thinking about the changes that they made that caused you to have to walk away. And like I said, with those changes, they see now what they put out has come back to them. And they feel like the world is on their shoulders right now. Hey, Lightworker William, how are you? Yeah, this person, they feel like they really need to come clean. They really need to, it's time to leave the devil alone so that they can get rid of this heartache and this heartbreak that they feel that they have caused. It's time for them to surrender. Surrender to God. What's the message, Spirit? Yeah, this person, they feel like a fool. And when they felt like they were stuck, they realized now they were never stuck. They were just being stubborn. They realize now they always had a choice. They had a choice. And with clarity, they see that they should have chosen you, especially if they considered you family. They should have chosen you. They should have worked with you. They should have worked on themselves, on why they felt the way they felt about you. They should have been working on themselves. Things that they were afraid to look at. What's the message, Spirit? Somebody finally has surrendered. They're no longer feeling like they have to hold out. They got to hold the line. They got to be so stubborn in the way that they're thinking or acting, because that stubbornness is only hurting them. And they're looking at you, and here you are, happy, free, having your wish fulfillment. And now they're ready to give back. I feel like, maybe you had somebody something more than what they had thought. At the time you gave them something, you sent them something, you blessed them with something, but they didn't realize it at that time. But now they're starting to understand. Now it's almost like they are starting to intuitively feel that there was more to it than what they had given you credit for. You know how somebody can do something for you today, and it may be a month later, 2 months later, a year later, and then you realize what that person has actually done and how great and how generous that was. See, this person they found themselves, confirmation, they found themselves lying about everything that they accomplished by themselves. Whereas they didn't. They're finding that, what they accomplished by you assisting them, you providing them with information, the information they needed. They acted like they did it by themselves, but they didn't. They was lying to themselves. Hey, the Divine Oracle, how are you? They now realize that, they were just being immature for so long. They weren't thinking straight. They were taking everything for granted. They were allowing somebody to tell them, how to, hey, Jesky, somebody to tell them how to treat you, how to do this, how to do that. They were allowing somebody to say, oh, they ain't never going to change. They ain't never going to do this. They ain't never going to get that right. And now this person is looking at you and they see how much your life has changed. That's when they had to realize and wake up and stop lying to themselves, trying to give themselves all the credit for all the wonderful things that they've done in their life. Well, they don't deserve the credit at all. What's the message, Spirit? When they sitting back and they thinking about every major move that they made in their life, it may have been a suggestion by you. It may have been you talking to them and saying, well, listen, I want you to do that. You're not going to sit around here and do all this. You can either do this, you can do that, but you're not going to sit around here and do all this. You're not going to do that. It's almost like you pushing them to make a decision on how to better their life. They're sitting here thinking about all those things that they lied to themselves about. Everything that they thought was hidden. And like I said, them feeling so full of themselves, like, oh, I did this, I did that. Whereas you were the one that was in the back guiding them with wisdom. And how they lied on you. This is why this person feels like they're getting justice for lying on you. They're getting karma for lying on you. And they're getting karma for saying that you lied. Because you only ever told them the truth. What's the message, Spirit? Hey, for Keith M. How are you? What's the message, Spirit? Yes, karma is in full effect. And sometimes karma is not like they lost a house, they lost a car, they lost their favorite dog. Oh, Lightworker William, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Sometimes karma is not like you lost hey, DJ Diaries, hey, Travion, you lost everything. Maybe sometimes karma is they cannot get out of their thoughts. They cannot sleep at night until they get themselves together because they realize that, you never caused them any pain. It may be that they don't feel the same. They can't get past this feeling that they have because, they did you wrong. So sometimes karma is, God said, you know what? You're not gonna be able to feel right. You're not gonna be able to have a good night's sleep. You're not gonna be able to feel like you fit in anywhere until you get your life together. What else, Spirit? I thought I saw one flip. You know? Mm-hmm. Are these supposed to be upside down? Yeah, because like Spirit said, you know, hey, Spirit is stopping some things. You know, until you learn to heal yourself, until you come back and apologize, you know, you were not going to get past this. You're not getting past this. You're not sleeping because you sat here and you lied on this earth angel. Until you get your shit straight, you're not going to get certain things. And this person, now they understand, you know, that they need to go and they need to extend the olive branch. That shows a level of strength that they have. You know, that they need to come in with a strong apology, not no weak ass apology. That they, you know, because they need to realize you're not going to step to them. You holding back. You can hold back. You got yours. You doing good. You the empress. Especially since they realized who the liar was, who this witch was. They had to make a judgment call and they had to start seeing things from your point of view, how things affected you, what you went through. You know, and stop acting like they is so confused as to why they was attacking you. They are confused as to why they attacking you, but they got to figure that out. They have to think back. Think back. Rewind. And they got to go back in time, a long time ago. How long they started fucking up. This is why they are in a position that they're in until they could surrender. Surrender to God. And they thought that they didn't have to surrender. God said, oh, okay, you don't have to. God said, I got time. I got time today. We can sit here all day long. You the only one that got to do this. You the only one that got to do that. God said, I created all of this. I got time. That's when somebody realized, oh, I guess I better put my head out of my ass. Because God is not going to bend. No. Just like this person thought that it was going to be their way or the highway. Well, they realized it was not going to be their way. They realized, okay, that's a long ass highway. Yeah, and this person sat there, all, you know, with their arms all crossed, like, oh, you ain't gonna make me. Now they got nothing to say. They don't have no defense. They want this brand new start. They have to end this war. They want all of this to end. You know, they got to end this war. They got to realize that you are a healer, that they went from and realize that they're not built for that war. First they was all had their defenses up. Now they that shit is coming down. They realize that, you know, and somebody who told them, oh, I'll tell you how to act in battle. They see that person ain't never been through battle. How that motherfucker know? I mean, really, if you ain't never been through battle, you ain't even had a fight, a street fight. You ain't even really had no big argument. How you know what to tell somebody? Somebody was sitting there talking, I'm going to tell you what to do. How do they know? They ain't never had to do it. They had to look at that. While somebody got their arms all folded. You better unfold them arms because God said, I got time today, baby. I got all types of time. See, somebody's thinking about how their character assassinated you, and now they know that was the wrong thing to do. They feel that they should have held that sword down. They should have shut up a long ass time ago. Because all they can do now is come and apologize. That's it. Come and apologize. Ask for grace and forgiveness. Trying to smooth this whole situation out, because they thought they was coming in, kicking ass and taking names. No, that shit is done. They got their ass kicked. They got their name took. And that was it. That was it. Because they realized, that little plan that they had. Oh, they didn't plan on being left out in the cold, but they was. They didn't plan on being left out in the cold, but they was. Now somebody understanding what you talking about. Now they're sitting here looking at this relationship, and they thinking about in the past, all that shit that you didn't say to them, that you saw. You wasn't saying, I see this just for kicks and shits and grins. You was telling them to help them. They realize that now. Now they're using that discernment that they should have been using before. That you was telling them what you saw coming in. This what's going to happen if you do this. This what's going to happen. If you do that, this what's going to happen. If you choose to do that, it's going to be like this. Like I said, somebody had all that jaw jacking, this and that to say before. They ain't got shit to say now. Hey, Latasha, how are you? They ain't got shit to say now, except how can I start over on a positive foot? They want to get on a good foot now, because they know that whatever else they've been doing has not been working. But whatever you did worked. So they were sitting there talking about all that yin yang, bullshit yang. Yeah. And that's all it was. That's all it turned out to be. Bullshit. What's the message, Spirit? Now they ain't got nothing to say. As they should not have anything to say. What else, Spirit? Yeah. They don't even want this karmic person to be around them. And they realize now that other person is a karmic. They realize that other person was never their friend. That was never their friend. And even if it was a family member, that was somebody that they should have just took them with a grain of salt and kept on trucking. Yeah, because they realized this person had brought them all this stress and strife in their life. This somebody that's telling them to fight with you, to argue with you, don't listen to you, don't take what you got to say as wisdom or word or whatever. They see now they should have told that person, go sit the hell down. They realize this now. They should have told them, go sit the hell down. Because when they start looking at everything and doing their own research and in their own investigation, what they see, it scared the hell out of them. What they saw was they were sitting here listening to the fucking devil. Devil was telling them, jump, and they was like, on the left foot or the right foot, which one? This person, they want to start over. They just want to have this happy family life back. They want to be able to come in and start over with you. They don't want to pull no people from the past into the future with you, because they know that you're going to tell them, fuck no, you and that goony goo goo monkey ass got to go. Hi, I am Amber Dawn. How are you? See, somebody realized what they did and what they allowed themselves, who they allowed themselves to become. A follower. Somebody that cannot be trusted. Somebody you don't even want to be around. Somebody you don't even want to talk to. Somebody that you can't even respect because they wasn't respecting themselves. They had to really look at themselves and see who they have become. what that change that they made, they had to really look at that change that they made. They compared their change to your change. Your change was for the positive. Their change, not so much. And that's why you had to put your foot down. That's why you had to say, no more. This is where I draw the line in the sand. If this is where our lives part, so be it. But I'm done. They never thought that you would ever, ever, ever turn your back around, turn your back on them, or they thought that you would feel like you couldn't survive. No. You knew you could survive. You knew you would have been surviving without bullshit, without lies, without someone character assassinating you, without somebody spreading all these false ass lies and rumors about you, without you feeling like you don't know who the hell who you looking at anymore. You knew you could survive. That was the easy part. What's the message? You knew you could survive because you knew where you came from. See, this person didn't realize you were as strong as you were. Maybe they looked at you on the outside and they thought, I'm stronger. Look at this. Look at this muscle. I'm stronger. But see, they didn't have it up here. They definitely didn't have it in here. So there was no strength for them. They realize now how weak they were, especially whenever they allow somebody to turn them, to change them from something that was great on their way to being greatness to something that was on their way to taking them down, to somebody they didn't even recognize. You knew, and they knew. They see clearly now that you was the truth. They see very clearly now that you was the Empress, that you were the abundant one, that you was the one that was always moving forward. They see that now. And they see now that they was the one who was immature. They was the one that was easily led and misled. What's the message, Spirit? Anything else from this deck? Yeah. Now somebody realized it's time for them to protect themselves, to block somebody else, to block this Queen of Wands, like they should have blocked a long time ago, because that Queen of Wands did not bring them what was promised. They see that they invested in the wrong one. Instead of trying to cause you all types of chaos, they see you as the fruitful one. But yet they want to invest in the one who's trying to take from them and not give to them. Bottom of the deck. A judgment call has been made. A decision has been made. And that decision is that somebody needs to hold back. Jesky, thank you so very much. I appreciate you so very much. That decision is that they need to hold back and they need to pray more. They need to separate themselves from those that don't have their best of interest at heart. And they need to open up to God. They need to surrender to God. They need to work on themselves. They need to work on finding their own happiness. That's what they have to work on. They know that they need to come and they need to apologize to you, especially after trying to fight against you for so long. This is what they want. They want to heal your relationship. They want to heal this home life. They want to heal this family life. That's what they want. That's what they want. And that, like I said, they know it's time to end this. It's time to stop following the devil. It's time. Because they know that that's just going to take them down more and more and more. I feel like that devil keeps trying to contact them, trying to call them, but they've already turned their back and they've already walked away. Because they see that they want to be happy with you. They want to find happiness with you. They want to repair with you. They want to be, they feel like they need to be with you because all of this conflict, it has destroyed their life. All of those curses that came back and got them, that they were supposed to only hit you, it has destroyed their entire life. This person is now talking to God, is now asking God for the answer, and God is answering. This person now is, after such a long time, looking at everything before they just accept anything. They know that it's their plan. Their plan is to do what's right. They want to do what's right because them doing this other shit, following somebody else, has got them all fucked up. But you told them. You told them. And see, they realized that this Queen of Wands, she didn't really want to be there. She just wanted to look like she really did something. Yeah. Like she wanted to roll around in a Cadillac like she really did something, only to find out that they was the one to pay for the Cadillac and she the one to get to roll around. I mean, she's not really there to try and do nothing. She just there to try and take. But you told this person about their money, about what somebody wanted from them. You told them about who you trying to really invest in. You told them. But you can only tell somebody so much before you got to let them find out on their own. That's what you want to experience? Go ahead. This could have been a child of yours. This could be something from a long time ago. This person is having these fond memories of you, that's for sure. And they want to, have that wish fulfillment. Like I said, they want to heal something with you. That's why they made that decision, that sound decision. They no longer want to feel like they are out to sea by themselves because they never felt like that when you were around. They only felt like that when you stopped being around. Yeah, this is somebody who now sees how important you are in their life. And you've always been important in their life. You've always been that balanced them out, encouraged them, told them the right way to go. This person is feeling a certain way that they didn't shut that bullshit down a long time ago. Did they feel a certain way that they, allow people to gossip about you, and they realize now they should have told these people, hey, keep collector's name out your damn mouth. That they should have walked away from those people. But once again, they realized that they weren't ever strong. Didn't make a difference how many muscles they had on the outside. It was that inner strength that they were missing. What's the message, Spirit? Something about their emotions. I feel like this person is ready to open up their throat chakra and their heart chakra to tell you what they're actually feeling. Yeah. Because of all these burdens. I feel like somebody really wants to tell you what they're feeling, what they went through, and that they know that they put you through this because they know that you're going to ask them. They know that they got to come in, they got to start spilling the beans. No more sweeping anything under the rug. This is what this person had to grow into. No more sweeping anything under the rug. All of that shit is over. Been over. What else, Spirit? Yes, this person wants to come in. They want to apologize. They want to calm things down. They want to smooth to calmer waters. And they no longer are dealing with this jealous bitch. They no longer want to be around that person. That person don't have any strength over them anymore. Like I said, they are defending themselves. They block somebody from somebody being able to put a curse on them, put some type of spell on them. They blocked it. And what's odd is that Queen of Wands thinks that person is coming back so that they can get some more money. They can't get nothing. This coven ain't heard from this person either. Ain't nobody hearing from this person. This person is done. This person has surrendered to God. They have definitely learned a lesson. They learned this lesson about this person who was sitting here bad-mouthing you, saying that they this, saying that they that, whenever they should not have allowed that person to say shit or shinola. Like I said, that karma came around and got they ass quick. Got them quick. This person wants to tell you about this heartbreak that they went through. And they definitely want to say that they see you, that you are an empress, and you're very spiritual. You are protected. You are connected. They definitely see you now. This is why you was always able to outrun any of their attacks. You was always able to outrun that. This is why this person, whenever they started going through their own dark night of the soul, that's whenever everything seemed like it started to change for them. That's whenever this person realized that, you know what? You were always honest. You were always admirable. You were responsible. It's like like I said, you was a good mother. Maybe you said it a little rough, but you said it rough because you loved them. And it's not like you wasn't trying to sugarcoat it, because sometimes when you sugarcoat stuff, people don't understand what you're saying. They're like, well, can't be that bad. Yeah, they just said it like this. They didn't say it like, it can't be that bad. You told them how it really was. You told them the truth about how somebody really was. Now this person later, like I said, sometimes we say these things and it takes a moment for it to sink in. Now this person is it's sinking in what you said. This person, they feel like, how could they have been a fool? How could they have just jumped off that cliff like that? Why didn't they see this? Why didn't they really listen to what you were saying? Because you was the one that was there for them. And they left you alone to fend for yourself. Only to find out that you are in that status of where, like, maybe you have this new company or something. Hey, the blue star. Maybe you are, you're just secure with yourself. But something about what you do is the truth. You walk with a big stick. You have your gifts. You have a commanding presence about you. I feel like this is that person that wants to walk in your shoes because they want to have that same presence that you have just by whenever you walk into the room. People realize they can't play with you. They cannot play with you. Yeah, this person is really working on themselves. They are truly working on themselves. This person is starting to learn how to protect their own heart, protect how they feel about things, defend themselves, to stand up. If everybody else is saying no, they feel like they need to stand up if the answer for them is yes, and just to say yes, to not allow somebody trick them out they see, to get them all confused about, no, you don't feel like this about this person, you feel like that about this person. They said that is over, it's done. They're realizing that somebody, they was manipulated. But like I said, God told them, you want to get rid of these nightmares, you want to stop being so sad and depressed, you're going to have to make some changes. I feel like somebody had their earth angel or their angels or their ancestors and earth, not earth angels, but ancestors and angel guides around them, telling them that it's time for them to have faith. It's time for them to have the courage to move in a new direction. Because they had to let them know. It's like they had to bring it to them in a dream that the devil got plans for them, baby. So you either get it right or you will get left. Hey, the Roman Zelensky, how are you? Either you get right or you will get left. And I feel like this person was afraid of being left. So they decided it's time for them to get right. I think that this person felt like, if they gave their life over to God, then they would stop being able to have fun. Like they can't cuss, they can't drink, they can't have sex no more. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. You just have to know, you're supposed to live a more righteous life. Just do what is right. You ain't got to be a saint. Just do what's right. And don't go in the wrong direction. That's what it is. Somebody needed to understand you cannot just go in the wrong direction. That's when somebody realized, that's when their life changed. What's the message? Confirmation. That's when someone's life changed. Anything else? Yeah. Somebody's on their way. They're putting a lot of time and energy into healing themselves. I feel like somebody wants to take a chance and come back. They want to take this leap of faith and come in your direction. This is somebody who's been watching you, studying you, doing the things that you do. And I feel like this is somebody who, like I said, has made that the same decision that you made. And sometimes we need to have these bumps and these bruises to understand, what life is like on the other side and how it's not what you think it's going to be, Yes, somebody has some invisible protection, especially since all the dark has cleared. What else, Spirit? What else? Yeah, somebody's realizing that somebody else did not help them because they was the one doing it to them. That's the reason that they didn't get any help, because they didn't get any help from these people that they thought they could rely on, because those people were the one that was doing it to them. Something about some internet crime, some wire crime, something. Excuse me. Yes, somebody had to free their spirit, or they're finding that they're looking at you as a free spirit, and how you're spiritually tapped in. Like I said, this person, they feel isolated. Ever since you left, ever since you allowed them to go through whatever it was that they felt like they needed to take themselves through, they felt isolated. And now this person is trying to track you. Somebody's grandpapa's in the building. Maybe somebody had a dream about laying on their grandfather's chest. But somebody's grandfather's in the building. Yeah, this is somebody who's, like clock watching, maybe not every 30 minutes, but, like they're, I feel like they feel like time is running out. And they know that time is running out and they have to deal with these inner demons that they feel. This is when this person realized they should have never, ever tried to mock you. Something could have happened around this last holiday or a holiday when they was around these lying-ass family or friends. Maybe that's when somebody felt all alone, felt like an outsider, because somebody wanted them to feel like they were an outsider, feel like they didn't belong. Yep. They're scared that you remove the swords from your back. And they are a little nervous. But like I said, they had to do it alone in order to grow up. You had to leave them alone in order for them to grow up. This is somebody who always tried to play victim. But all those disillusionments have been shattered, baby. They now see through the fog. Hey, Warrior CC, how are you? They now see through that fog. Everything is clear. Everything is clearing up. Their mind is clearing up. The longer that they stay away from, that witch and those curses and everything else and that coven, the clearer their mind becomes. And they are anticipating coming towards you. They're anticipating starting over. They're anticipating their new life. They are daydreaming about their new life, how it's going to be. Especially because, like I said, you're stable. They want to be stable just like you are. That's what they're anticipating. How you made it through by yourself. And this person is sitting here watching you be great. This is somebody that wants to be either, with you again, your lover again, or married to you, or, having a new start, or repairing your relationship. It's a family member. Because you told them about this scammer. You told them about that scammer. This is somebody who had to learn how to let go of all resentment towards you. And I kind of feel like, sometimes when you tell somebody about somebody, they a scammer, they a cheat, they a this, that, the other, whatever. And shit start happening like you said, they get upset. They get upset and they want to take it out on you. Like they mad at you for hammering the nail on the head, for getting it completely right. They want to get mad at you, but it's not your fault. It's their fault for not listening. Somebody's now looking for this online community, or maybe they found an online community. Like I said, I feel like somebody is getting guidance from a tarot or oracles or something like that. They realize that they fumbled the bag, or somebody fumbled the bag. This was somebody that didn't have anything to offer emotionally. This is somebody that used to wear booty shorts around they friends. Maybe their girlfriend or somebody they thought was a girlfriend was wearing, them small ass booty shorts around their friends, trying to entice their friends, trying to cause arguments, not respecting themselves at all, and definitely not respecting you. See, this is somebody who's, once they go through that dark night of the soul, they are no longer going to be afraid of death, because they already dealt with the whole dark night of the soul. They already dealt with, this narcissistic nation that they used to belong to. Once you deal with your own dark night of the soul, nobody can stop you. Shit that you used to be afraid of, you like, oh, okay, well, bring it on. This is somebody who's ready to pack their bags and leave if they haven't already. Anything else, Spirit? Excuse me. Something is going to happen today. Something with this third wheel enemy. Maybe this person is finally going to stand up to this bully, but the way that they're going to stand up, they're going to definitely handle it with dignity, because they see that this bully was nothing but a clout chaser. There is no fucking clout. What else, Spirit? Yep, it was time for them to get themselves together. Spirit had to let them know, get yourself together. If you ever want to sleep good, if you ever want to really sleep past 30 minutes, you can get you 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Let's go ahead and swing the pendulum. And then I do need to give me something to eat for my stomach go again. All right, Spirit, which way is the pendulum going to swing? Which way? It looks like it's yes. Looks like it is yes. All right, y'all. Thank you so very much. K Hyphy, Lightworker William, Jesky, thank you so very much. I do appreciate those donations. I appreciate everyone. Yeah, this pendulum is really swinging. Yes, definitely yes. I really appreciate everyone, everyone. All right, y'all. I will see you a little bit later. I may come back on a little later after I eat, but I definitely got to eat first. If not, I will definitely see you tomorrow morning. All right. Thank you. So wonderful seeing you all. Bye now.